You clicked on this video because you freaking love JRPGs just as much as I do, and in 2024, us JRPG lovers are freaking eating good. But with so many JRPGs releasing, it's kinda hard to keep up with everything, so here are 40 of them that I think you should absolutely know about. And to celebrate the new year, Happy New Year to you by the way, my content creator friends and I are sharing our picks together, so we're joining forces today, and we want to hear from you, so let us know which ones you are most excited about in the comment section. Hello you gorgeous human being, it's Miss Bubbles. If you love everything JRPGs and cozy games, you're in the right place, so consider squishing the subscribe button because I have plenty of fun content coming your way in 2024. So I'm gonna start with Rise of the Ronin, a PlayStation 5 exclusive developed by Team Ninja, the same devs behind Nioh and Wolong. This is a mix of role-playing and the Souls-like genre where your decisions actually matter, and there will be some branching storylines. The graphics look amazing and the gameplay looks action-packed where you can hack and slash, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna be button mashing if you're like me, so you have to have a strategy on the battlefield. The story is also interesting. It's set in the 19th century Japan where you live as a masterless samurai. I'm usually intimidated by games like this, but I may or may not have been playing Elden Ring. I don't even know who I am anymore, so I'm actually interested in this one, and you can play it yourself when it drops on March 22nd. And on the same day, March 22nd, we have Dragon's Dogma 2 finally releasing, and the more that I learn about it, the more I just can't wait to try it out. This is a narrative-driven RPG where you fully customize your character, and the gameplay shines in the aspect of you can literally control how to approach every situation and different monsters. The pawn system is coming back. These serve as your companions that you can also share online, so other players can bring them on their own journey. So when you do play with your own pawn and then they go to another person's universe, they will bring all the knowledge that they have gained when they were in your world, which I think is pretty awesome. I played the first entry and never got to finishing it, but we can all agree that the gameplay is amazing, but the story is lacking, so I'm hoping that this one will bring a more engaging plot. Capcom has been giving us a lot of sneak peeks for the gameplay, and I must say it looks really good. Now, breaking away from the over-the-top graphics, let's look at a JRPG that is a little bit more quirky and different, and it's called Beastieball. This one's a strategic turn-based RPG set in an open world, and it seems to draw inspiration from Pokemon. So beasties are these evolved creatures that play volleyball, and you're gonna be their coach. They will help you rank up, and you need to help them evolve and build relationships between each other, because get this, these creatures have their own personalities and they might become friends, partners, sweethearts, or even rivals. I like the innovation that the developer is bringing here, and we can all agree that Pokemon-inspired games can be hit or miss, so I really hope that this one is going to be a success. But if you're into pixel, turn-based, government conspiracy kind of JRPG, then Quartet might be the one for you. Here you have 8 swappable characters with 4 stories to choose from, all of which intertwine in the end. So unlike, let's say, Octopath Traveler, the characters will have to come together rather than feel disconnected from each other. When in combat, you have 4 active characters, while the other 4 are in reserve. They will regenerate AP, so when you are ready to use them again, you get the upper hand on the battlefield. This one's coming sometime in 2024, so definitely wishlist it so you know when it's out. Let's hear from David Vink, who's sharing a game that I have to say I'm really interested in.
Hi there everybody, this is David over at the channel David Vink, and Miss Bubbles invited me over to talk about games that I'm looking forward to coming up in 2024, and boy oh boy, if y'all thought that we got some good games this year, man, we got some great ones coming up, and I want to talk about 4 of them today. 2 of them are remakes, and 2 of them are brand new games. It was really hard for me to narrow this down, but I did my best, and now I want to start with Suikoden 1 and 2 Remastered. Yeah, remember this little gem for the PlayStation? I personally got Suikoden 1 for $5, and then Suikoden 2, I had to spend like $80. I couldn't find the thing, but man, they were great. Some of the best RPGs on the original PlayStation. Both of them play very similarly to one another where you collect 108 Stars of Destiny, which is essentially 108 characters. Not all of them join your party though. A lot of them just kind of join your castle. And you can build up your castle and you can expand your territory throughout the land. And the best thing about the Suikoden games is that each one of them is kind of interconnected. Each one of them, they tell their own separate story, but kind of like another series that I'm going to be getting into, they have connections. They take place in roughly the same time period, but different areas, different lands, different countries, and you go around and you save your country, and it's just so much fun. And I've got to say, as great as Suikoden 1 was, Suikoden 2 blew it out of the water, has one of the best villains that I've ever seen in Luca Blight. If you've never played these two gems, y'all are in for a treat.
Following up from David, I know that Tark's Gauntlet wants to say something to him, so let's hear it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tark's here, and here, but never over here. 2023 was a landmark year in gaming, especially for fans of the RPG, and 2024 doesn't show much signs of slowing down. Here's two of the games I'm looking forward to in 2024. The first one is The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak. Oh, well, this one's taken already. Let's move on to my second game. Another game I'm looking forward to is actually a duology, the Suikoden remasters. You gotta be kidding me. David Vink again. Alright, you know what? That's it. David, you, me, a ring, 1v1, mano a mano, loser takes all. So my first two games were taken. I'm gonna go with a game that was just announced, so surely nobody else has got this one yet. Visions of Mana. Secret of Mana was one of those cornerstone action RPGs, one of those games that really defined what the genre was. However, the Mana series has had very poor representation in the West, and for the longest time, the franchise was basically dormant. Over the last decade, Square has been testing the waters a little bit, a remake of Secret of Mana, the Mana Collection, and a remake of Seiken Densetsu 3, Trials of Mana. And through these, it seemed like they were gauging whether it was worth putting a new game in this series out into the world. And it seems like they pulled it off. It seems like it worked. For the first time in well over a decade, we are getting a new entry in the Mana series, Visions of Mana, and I look forward to it immensely.
I cannot wait for Visions of Mana, and if you're interested in learning a little bit more about it, I do have a more in-depth news piece about it that I'm gonna leave for you in the pinned comment. While David and Tark solve their own conflict, let me show you beloved Rapture. This one's for indie JRPG fans who also appreciate modern themes with classic gameplay and a heavy coming-of-age plot. The story is mature, where you play as Johan, an introverted young man who faces the threat of the Ascendants, and these are people who are threatening his hometown. Meanwhile, he's also facing some family traumas, he's questioning his sexuality, and more. Gameplay-wise, you have a strategic turn-based combat with 0 random encounters and 0 force grinding. And if you ask me, both of these sound fantastic because I don't like random encounters, nor do I like grinding. So if you're interested in this one, it will be out sometime in Q1 of 2024. Next up, we have an open world tactical RPG called The White Raven, and the trailer looks very promising. First off, story-wise, you play as Jin, a wayward spirit whisperer, and you decide how the story will go. You have dialogue choices that will determine who will be your rival and who will be your ally. You're also starting your own tribe, so you need to gather resources to build and upgrade your sanctuary. Then, in terms of combat, if you choose to engage in it, you need to be tactical and take advantage of the enemy's weakness while utilizing the terrain. I like the different gameplay mechanics that are being introduced here, so I definitely look forward to playing it when it releases sometime in 2024. We also have Shrine's Legacy, which is inspired by the SNES classics, and this one's for those of you who prefer real-time battles with robust combat. You'll be exploring a big overworld and play as a hero, always accompanied by one companion who can either be AI or played by your friend and co-op. There's also an emphasis on puzzles while adventuring, with many dungeons to explore. While it's not my cup of tea, I know that a lot of you would love to check this one out, so stay on the lookout. It will release sometime in 2024. But for those of you who prefer a more fast-paced combat mixed in with some strategy, Showa America's story should be on your radar. Now, I'm not so sure if this is considered a JRPG or a Western one, but I'm still gonna share it with you regardless rather than skip it. This one is set during a time where Japan buys out most of the US, and it taps into immigration and conflicts between cultures as you play as a teenage girl who revived from death, and she finds herself in a post-apocalypse. So you're gonna be fighting against hordes of zombies and monsters, and you can use a range of weapons to tackle each battle. You also have an RV that you can call your home, and you can customize it and upgrade it to your heart's content. I don't know what it is about this one. I feel like it's gonna be a hit or miss, but I'm definitely excited for it when it releases sometime in 2024. While I'm picking more niche games for now, I wanted you to hear from Chocolate Kieran, who has one of the many games from Level 5 that I'm really excited for.
Hey, I'm Chocolate Kieran. I love JRPGs, and here is why I'm looking forward to Decapolice in 2024. So, we play as a rookie detective who solves crimes back and forth between the real world and the virtual world. I'm a big fan of this since it gives me massive Digimon Cyber Sleuth vibes, and that was a JRPG I loved. The virtual space looks fun as it will give a good excuse for wacky shenanigans and unique scenarios to happen too. Not to mention, Decapolice is being worked on by Level 5 who made Yokai Watch one of my personal favorite games. The character designs look fresh and unique, but they still have that Level 5 charm to it. And the game has voice acting as well, which I love in my RPGs since it helps to make longer games a much more enjoyable ride for me personally. Not to mention that Level 5 also made Professor Layton. So when it comes to mystery, we know for a fact it's going to be well written and a fun ride, as they already have a proven track record of doing just that. We'll be able to pick up evidence to help us analyze who is the true culprit behind each mystery. So outside of combat, there's going to be a lot of fun to be had. If you're a fan of games like Ace Attorney, Professor Layton, and Danganronpa, then this is definitely a game you should look into.
And let's hear again from both David and Tarks about their next picks.
Now, very similar to the Suikoden games insofar as how they're connected to one another, another game that I'm looking forward to is Trails Through Daybreak. This is the latest entry into the illustrious Trails series, which has been going on since the TurboGrafx 16, for God's sakes, if not earlier than that. This thing's been going on forever. I first played them with the PSP with the Gagharv trilogy, but they really didn't take off till Trails in the Sky, which took place in Liberl. Then you had the Crossbow Saga, then the Erebonian Saga. Now we're finally getting into Calvard. We're getting into the eastern side, and Trails Through Daybreak marks the 50% point through the Zemurian Saga. This series has been going on for over a decade now, and we're only halfway through. It is a lot to get through, but I am invested now. I have to know how this story ends. I cannot stop now, and I am looking forward to seeing that.
For my second game, I'm going to go with one that doesn't actually have an official North American release yet, but it does have a Japanese release for 2024 in the summer, and Onion Games said on Twitter that this game will be coming to the West, and that is Stray Children wa. If you've seen Onion Games' previous RPGs like Moon RPG, you'll kind of have an idea of what you're in for, although this one seems a little bit less like an anti-RPG than Moon was. Onion Games has a history of having the most interesting titles, the most interesting mechanics, and the most interesting ideas behind building a game. Moon was an incredible deviation and deconstruction of the RPG genre. Tulip is something kind of completely and uniquely its own. Rule of Rose, while not appreciated when it came out, has stood the test of time to be a beloved and highly sought after survival horror game. Stray Children looks like a trip back to Onion Games' roots. The beautiful art, the classic combat, the immense levels of creativity, these are the kind of games that made the PS1 so amazing for RPGs. That incredible level of art and experimentation. If it has a physical release, I will be picking it up on day one.
Now, if you're familiar with my channel, you know that this would never be a Miss Bubbles collab if I don't have my bestie Taylor Rooney with us, so let's hear from him.
Dark Deity 2, the follow-up to one of my favorite games of 2022, is releasing sometime in 2024. Now, one look at it and you can tell that it's a tactical RPG heavily inspired by classic Fire Emblem games, and to me that's only a good thing. Now, from what I can tell from the trailer, it seems to be more of the same from the original game, just with a new setting and new classes. It seems like it's going to be some sort of East meets West setting with cowboys, Native Americans, and a lot of Japanese-inspired architecture. They haven't shown much of this game, but even if it's literally just more of the original game, that's totally fine with me. I'm totally in for Dark Deity 2. Indie studios keep bringing the heat in 2024, and one of the best looking games is Sacrifire. It's an action JRPG with fantastic pixel visuals and music by Star Ocean and Tales of series composer Motoi Sakuraba. Now obviously the visuals grab you right away. They're really compelling, really interesting, but what intrigues me is the game's focus on platforming and action combat. I haven't seen a ton of JRPGs recently trying to put a focus on platforming, so I'm super curious to see how this one shapes out. And it's been marinating for a long time, so I can't wait to play it sometime in 2024.
Now here are two that I want to show you, and the first one is called Prelude Dark Pain. This one is a tactical RPG set in a dark fantasy world where the world is destroyed by war and is plagued by disease. And you're gonna be in charge of leading an uprising against the Order of the Ash Crusade, so you have over 55 heroes to choose from, each with different talents and skills. Then you get to choose your squad and you can go out on missions, like you can go and search for resources, you can do espionage or defense with 1 to 3 heroes. This gives me a lot of Fallout Shelter vibes if you've played this one, but I also like the aspect that your decisions really matter. So let's see how it will be when it releases into early access sometime in 2024. And the second game that I wanted to share with you is Project Mugen, or Mugen, I think Mugen, which you can pre-register for it right now if you're interested in trying it. And I must say it looks absolutely stunning with its urban open world approach, and the combat looks insane. Like 1 second it's melee, then you're seamlessly switching to guns. The game emphasizes your traversal in a procedurally generated world, and we've seen from the trailers, like, this game looks mad. It looks really good. You play as an Esper, which is a top investigator who can confront anomalies and supernatural occurrences that threaten the balance of the world. You will be meeting other Espers as well. You get to know them, you can complete their quests, and overall, I cannot wait to check this one out. We still have a lot of unanswered questions about this one, like microtransactions and when is it gonna release and all of that. But regardless, I look forward to learning more about it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it will release in 2024. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm interested in seeing what else Tayloruni Bestie has in store for us. And we are also joined by the awesome Emily, Herbalology, and Chicken Fillets, which I still believe his name is freaking epic.
Now, Hoyoverse, the team that brought us Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, is back in 2024 with an all-new urban action RPG, Zenless Zone Zero. Now, what's really interesting is that this is not really open like their last games, but it's much more stage-based. In fact, you can almost call it a dungeon crawler with roguelike elements. Now, as far as the story goes, you work as a proxy, kind of a cyber hacker guiding brave adventurers through interdimensional realms called Hollows. Now, I actually had a chance to play the closed beta recently, and I had a blast with it. The combat was super fun, flashy, and there's such a huge variety of characters that were all really fun to play. And I also gotta say, I love the character designs. It's not just humans, but they have demons, bears, cat girls, and all kinds of wild stuff. I almost wonder if Hoyoverse is kind of overextending with these games, like they're having too many and not enough people will be able to play it. But I really love games like this, so I'm super curious to see what the full release looks like in 2024.
Hey, it's Emily from Overlord, and I'm excited to share 3 new RPGs that are coming out for the Switch next year. The first is just around the corner. It's coming out in January, and that is Crystal Project. So this is described as a non-linear JRPG where you're free to just do about anything, from taming wild monsters to collecting various collectibles and equipment, leveling up your class and abilities to take down various foes. I think this game offers an enjoyable but very flexible experience so that you can tailor it to whatever adventure you're looking to go on.
Hello, John aka Chicken Fillets here, and 2023 has been a banger for JRPGs in general, but now it's time to get hyped for 2024! Let's have a look at my choices.
I can't do this the whole way through. Right, so Paper Mario the 1000 Year Door remake or remaster, whatever it is, looks utterly fantastic. Now, I actually only completed Paper Mario the Origami King very recently, and I love my time with this. So now I am fully hyped for this GameCube RPG classic to get into my hands.
Back to yours truly, I have 2 very different JRPGs, each with a different audience in mind, and the first one is called SaGa Emerald Beyond, the new standalone entry in the SaGa franchise. You choose between 6 heroes and you'll guide them through 17 worlds, and the fun part is that your choices matter and these characters all have different backgrounds and goals. You choose how the story unfolds with the various branching plots. In combat, strategy will be king, so your turn matters within the timeline. So even in combat, the little details can change the tide of battle. This one's definitely one of the many Square Enix titles that are coming up that I'm interested in, and you can play it on April 24th. But moving away from this type of combat, let's talk a little bit about Blue Protocol. For some reason, it took me 5 times to say this right. This is an MMORPG from Bandai Namco that looks epic. Aside from the stunning graphics, the story is about you uncovering the truth behind your origins. So here you are on a journey on a planet in turmoil, and you need to change its fate. You can customize your character to your heart's content, and not only the way they appear, but also the skills that they have and the combat style that they're gonna develop. And speaking of combat, it looks action-packed in the trailers and welcoming to both beginners and advanced players. Now, I'm usually not that interested in MMORPGs, but there's something about this one that it looks really fun, and I feel like it might be worth your while, so let's see how it goes in 2024. Back to our friends, let's hear from Chicken Fillets and Emily. We also have the amazing Alex from Backlog Battle. It's always a pleasure to have everyone here. And we have someone new who you guys have never seen on this channel before. His name is ICAs. He says that he's the only ice that's fire. No.
Another RPG to be hyped for is definitely Persona 3 Reload, the remake of the original PlayStation 2 JRPG classic. Now, we can all agree here that Atlus are completely taking over in 2024, and Persona 3 Reload is leading the charge with this statement. I mean, just look at it, it looks fantastic.
The next game coming out next year that I want to talk about is Cat Quest 3. And I was so excited when this was announced in one of the earlier Nintendo Directs this year. I really enjoyed the first 2 entries of Cat Quest, and this third one looks awesome, where you get to sail around in your own pirate ship and read all the various cat puns, which Cat Quest is very known for. If you enjoy cute but fun action RPGs, Cat Quest is definitely one not to miss.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy ICAs here. Shout out to Miss Bubble for inviting me on the channel to talk about one of my most anticipated JRPGs of 2024. So we all know we've got some big hitters coming out in 2024, but I'm personally excited for SandLand. So if you didn't know about SandLand, it's actually an old manga from the 2000s from the Dragon Ball Z creator Akira Toriyama, and I'm a massive anime fan, so we're eating this one up. SandLand is set in a desert world where both humans and demons suffer from an extreme water shortage, and you play as the demon Beelzebub, who is in search of the legendary spring hidden in the desert. As much as you'll have to master Beelzebub's demonic powers and develop his fighting abilities, you can actually customize all your vehicles. You can even find abandoned tanks out in the desert and use them to fight big dinosaur type monsters as well as other enemies, and I'm really looking forward to this part. I love a bit of customization in my JRPGs. I get sucked in, so I'm getting locked into this one. Guys, make sure you check this one out. Peace.
And I'm back with 2 more picks to share with you, and the first one's from Spike Chunsoft, the developers behind Master Detective Archives, AI Somnium Files, and more. Shiren the Wanderer is their new installment to the series after 8 years, and it's perfect for those of you who love a roguelike JRPG. You play as Shiren, and you're accompanied by a talking ferret called Copa. This time around, you receive a vision of a distant island and a girl in distress, so you go to find the girl, and you find out that the mystery island has a powerful monster with treasure within its belly. The game has procedurally generated maps, enemies, and loot, so each gameplay session will be different and challenging. I'm gonna be skipping this one, but I know a lot of you love this type of gameplay, so you can play it on February 27th. And the next game is called LumenTale Memories of Trey. This one's a monster collector RPG with 2.5D graphics, and you play as Trey, and you've lost your memories in the land of Talia. As you decide to journey out to retrieve your memories, you learn to use the Holokin. This is a device used to capture lumens, which are these mystical creatures that you can collect. You'll be fighting to defeat other lumens, you're gonna be gaining XP, exploring the world, playing minigames, and solving puzzles. As I mentioned earlier in the video, games that take inspiration from Pokemon can be very hit and miss, but the devs of this one are promising us a very lore-rich world, so let's see how it goes. We're gonna hear from our friends once again. I'm so happy that Johnny has joined us this time around as well, and we're gonna hear from Emily and Chicken Fillets one last time.
Hey everybody, my name is Johnny. The first game I want to talk about is Metaphor. This is coming from the same director as Persona 3, 4, and 5, and more, and a lot of other really talented artists, like some artists from Evangelion and things like that, and this game looks insanely good. I'm a personal, huge fan of Persona 5, so I'm super excited to play this when it comes out It looks incredible. It has some interesting and different gameplay that we're seeing in the early trailers here. This is one of my big bookmarks for 2024.
And the last game I want to talk about is one that may or may not be slated for next year, but I'm being optimistic, and that is Rune Factory Project Dragon. This is a spin-off of the popular Rune Factory JRPG series that incorporates action RPG style with farming simulation. I really love the Rune Factory series, so I'm really excited to see what they have in store for Project Dragon and how that's going to be a little bit different from the mainline Rune Factory series. So hopefully we'll hear a little bit more about this title towards the tail end of this year and maybe have a surprising drop or something.
And finally, the team who brought us Suikoden brings us what will be a modern classic, Eiyuden Chronicle's 100 Heroes. This gorgeous JRPG is just dripping with charm and also will look to reclaim the JRPG glory days from the PS1. I cannot wait to get my hands on this game in 2024.
So there are 3 RPGs to be hyped for 2024. Thank you to Miss Bubbles for having me on this, and remember to stay bubbly. This has been Chicken Fillets, and until next time, tate bye.
Back to my picks, and the first one is one that I recently learned about it, but I know a lot of you are really excited for it. I'm talking about The Legend of Legacy, which was initially released on the 3DS, and it's now getting an HD remaster. The story takes place in the continent of Avalon, where 7 adventurers explore the land's mysteries. You have your turn-based battles, and you can give your party different commands to defeat the enemies. You also have to be aware of elements, so water, air, fire, and shadow. These are very important to navigate, and if you want to get the upper hand in combat, you're gonna have to keep them in mind. The battle system is multi-layered because you can forge contracts with some elements. The remaster is bringing various quality of life elements that have been added in, from updated graphics to a more streamlined UI and a guidebook to help beginners like myself feel that this game is more welcoming. And if you're interested in playing it, you can do so on March 22nd. Here's yet another one that I'm not so sure if it's like a JRPG or Western RPG, but in all cases, I'm still gonna bring it up so you know about it, and hopefully it is. I mean, if it's not, you all always make sure to let me know in the comment section. But I'm talking about Black Myth Wukong. This one is rooted in Chinese mythology, brought to us by Game Science, and the encounters in combat look epic to say the least, and the creatures we're battling seem like they're gonna keep us on our toes. I was watching some videos from Gamescom, gameplay footage that other content creators have uploaded, and the movement is crucial here. Like, if you don't want to get your butt kicked, you have to be really careful, and you have a wide range of abilities and movesets that look so fun. So as much as I've said before, I am usually intimidated by games like this, I might check this one out when it releases on August 20th. Let's hear one more time from Johnny, who's sharing a game that I'm also personally really excited for.
Next up is Bloomtown. This is a gorgeous 2D JRPG that kind of has the vibe of Stardew Valley on the surface, and some amazing color and artwork in it. That on its face, but when you kind of dig down, there's a supernatural mystery that you have to unveil with your friends. Turn-based action with some really cool social systems that they're putting in there. Another one to keep an eye out for.
Back to more picks from me, and it's safe to say that I saved my favorite and most anticipated ones until the end of this video. We're gonna start with the first one, which is Granblue Fantasy Relink. The wait is finally over and the game's gone gold. What seems like it's been forever ago, you know, we're gonna play this game very soon. If you haven't heard about this one, you can form a party of 4 and can play either solo or in co-op and explore a grand adventure in the sky. The combat's so diverse, where you can shoot, hack and slash, or hex your way around the battleground, and you can use link attacks and chain bursts, which look really fun. And if you don't want to sweat too much because, you know, you just want to chill, you can use assist mode to help you out. Can more games do that? Please and thank you. The world looks beautiful and it's accompanied with a complex history. The characters seem so quirky and fun to get to know. Honestly, February 1st can't get here fast enough. And the second game that I'm really excited for is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which yes, I do need to go back and finish up the first part. This one takes place after Cloud and his friends escape Midgar, and they venture out while looking for Sephiroth. Traversal looks amazing, the graphics, I mean, we can all agree they look marvelous and gorgeous, and an epic adventure is definitely going to be had here. I loved every moment of the first part that I've played so far, and I can't see that changing as we dive deeper into the story, and the minigames look so fun. Cannot wait for February 29th. I don't know how we're gonna tackle these, like we have Granblue Fantasy Relink first, and then this one's coming up next. Lord have mercy, but we got it, guys. But hold on a minute, I want to hear again from David, and I mean, thank goodness this collab, he didn't bring any wigs in here, because we can all agree the wig in the last one was freaking insane.
Another game from my childhood that is getting a remaster is Dragon Warrior 3. It's getting an HD 2D remaster, and this was like my favorite game growing up. Y'all have no idea. I played this thing all the time. I got it in 4th grade whenever I broke my arm, and my mother wheeled the NES and a television set into my room, and I just laid there and I played it for weeks on end, and I loved it. It was so much fun being able to choose job classes. Do you want a pilgrim, a wizard, a soldier, a fighter, a merchant, a goof-off? Who do you want in your party? Going around the world, and the world is Earth-inspired, exploring the pyramids, going into Japan, Romilly, or Rome, Portugal, or Portugal, going around the world and just exploring and traveling around. It really did cement my love for RPGs. It was definitely a seminal game for me.
Here's one for me that I really don't want to be excited about it, but have you seen the trailers? It just looks freaking awesome. I can't help myself. I'm talking about Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which looks mad. And what's more insane is that the developers have been saying that there's gonna be a lot of content in here. I don't know how we're gonna finish these games, but I freaking love Ichiban. And you know, I dropped the first game because I was getting my butt kicked. Skill issue. But I've been watching the playthrough on YouTube, and I cannot see myself skipping Infinite Wealth. There's no way. The fast-paced combat is really interesting. I'm gonna do my absolute best to get better at it. The minigames we have in these games look so much fun, and I'm mostly excited for the Dondoko Island. Like, what the heck, SaGa? You're bringing Animal Crossing into this? This is gonna be one heck of a JRPG that we're starting 2024 with, and if you want to share, like your excitement for it, definitely check out my Discord server, because I know that my mods are freaking so excited for this one, and we're gonna be talking a lot about it in a more dedicated way. Before I share my last pick, let's hear from David one more time.
And finally, the last game that I do want to talk about, a game that I am so excited about that I ordered a really expensive collector's edition, I just had to have it, is Unicorn Overlord. This seems to me like it is going to be a spiritual successor to the Ogre Battle series, which we haven't really seen another entry in lately. I want to say the last Ogre Battle game that we really got was like Ogre Battle 64. Yeah, we've gotten some Tactics Ogre here and there, but this is a real-time strategy game where you can control armies and units and go around the entire world map, and you can build up your renown and build up your reputation as you go through and unify these 5 warring kingdoms and have them all come together and bring peace throughout the land. And all these games just look fantastic. There's some old, there's some new, they just look so good, and I cannot wait to play them. Thank you all again for inviting me over, Mrs. Bubbles, and thank you all for watching, and I do hope to see you over on my channel, David Vink. Have a good day, everybody.
And my most anticipated JRPG of 2024. If you're familiar with my channel, you know that I do love cozy games. So when cozy games and a JRPG just like come together, you get a baby that is called Fantasy Life, A Girl Who Steals Time. I cannot wait for this one. I adore the 3DS entry, and this one is adding everything that I would have wished for the first one to do. I have a couple of videos that I'll link for you if you want a more in-depth look into the new one, but keeping it short, you have 14 classes to master, from Angler to Woodcutter, Cook, Hunter, Paladin, and more, and the new entry adds 2 new classes, the Farmer and the Artist. We're also getting the ability to terraform our our island, we can decorate it to our heart's content. The minigames are getting some updates, and overall, this game is the one that you want to play when you just want to snuggle up in a blanket and have a peaceful time. Level 5 is coming back strong in 2024, and Fantasy Life: A Girl Who Steals Time is going to be the most anticipated JRPG for me. Which JRPG are you most excited for? Let us know in the comment section. Don't forget to give some love to all the amazing content creator friends who joined us today. The links to their channels can be found in the pinned comments. And if you want to learn about our RPGs that we absolutely regret buying, then check out this video next. Thank you to my Patreon and YouTube channel Bubblies who make videos like this possible. Thank you for watching, and a shout out goes to the amazing Karu, the games I mentioned, Jacob, Stephanie, Steven, Dark One, and Jake Loken for going the extra mile. Until next time, stay bubbly.